Hello, I'm Sandy Schuler, and I'm a registered social worker and a certified Canadian family educator. And I've been in practice for 38 years working with families, particularly around parent education and family life education. Most recently, in the last 12 years, my area of preferred practice has been working with families and professionals going through separation and divorce. The climate of separation and divorce has changed in the last 20 to 25 years. We certainly have seen an increase of families going through separation and divorce to the point that at this time, approximately 40 to 48% of families are experiencing separation and divorce. It's a little difficult to talk about the exact statistics because many families go through separation and divorce where there isn't a marriage and then a divorce that can be tracked statistically. Many families are in common law kinds of relationships, and those are equally important, families experiencing separation and divorce. We do know that vast numbers of families are experiencing the situation, and the numbers have certainly increased in the last 20 to 25 years, although most recently I'm under the impression that the numbers have leveled out considerably. But what that means is that children are going through the process with their parents and are affected in great numbers. And so it's a situation where children find themselves often in families that have reblended or combined. Sometimes we call those step families. And so children are being parented in a variety of family configurations, sometimes parented by mums, sometimes by dads, sometimes with grandparents or step families. So we know that families are very diverse at this time, and children are exposed sometimes to many different adults caring for them. I'm very pleased to be working with the BC Council for Families to develop the materials that have now been rolled out called Kids, the Heart of Co-Parenting, both a professional guidebook, a resource book, as well as tip sheets for family service providers to be using themselves to help educate themselves, but also to work with families and offer families these resources. These materials will give them information, awareness, skills, tools, ideas, and mostly confidence and competencies to help them as they discuss with families their needs and as they intervene with families to help them get the services that they most need. Family service providers are in a very important, influential position when they're working with families going through this process. They can fulfill many roles, including being an active listener, coaching them with tools and ideas, being a very important referral source to hook them up with community services and supports that they may need through the process of separation and divorce. Both professionals and parents need to be reminded that these wonderful materials through the BC Council for Families are educational in nature, and they cannot replace the value of expert professionals in the community, whether they be supportive counselors, legal information, or financial information. Separation and divorce is a very challenging time, a very stressful time for families who are dealing with this issue. For parents, it's a particularly difficult time because they're trying to deal with the busyness of making decisions as well as the business of the separation and the divorce. It's very hard for them to manage all of the competing demands, their own emotions, and wanting to be present to be a supportive parent for their children. So one of the important things for parents to do as they're going through separation and divorce is to try and get some self-care strategies and some support for themselves so that they can have resources to support them, which then in turn will help them be a better parent and be in a better position to support the children that they love. It's very important for parents to try and remember that Children experience separation and divorce very differently than they do. And for children, going through a separation and divorce in their family is a big loss, and often accompanied by feelings of sadness and grief. And so parents must take the approach of putting their children first in the process, always considering what is best for the child, what is best for the children in the situation, and trying their very best to put their own needs, their own agendas, and perhaps some of the conflict that may be there between the two co-parents to the side in favor of supporting the children first and foremost. An effective co-parenting relationship involves putting the children's needs before adult needs in the situation when a family is going through separation and divorce. It means that parents will come together and make decisions and share the role and responsibilities of parenting on a day-to-day basis for the sake of their children, so that their children can try and have the most stable and consistent, if possible, lifestyle that they have been used to. It takes a conscious effort and parents making a decision to put the needs of their children first and foremost. And that's a goal that parents need to make both in the short term and the long term in the best interests of their children. Working together to establish a more effective co-parenting relationship will be to the benefit of their children. And with all the parents that I've worked with, many and most want what's best for their children. So they will work very hard to ensure that their children's needs are met that way. It's really important for children to have the benefit of attachment to both parents. Children need both their mothers and their fathers in the majority of situations for their healthy growth and development. And so parents can help children facilitate that by encouraging ongoing contact and interaction with both parents, and if possible with extended family and friends. An effective co-parenting relationship can be a tall order for some parents, especially those parents who are struggling with high conflict and going through separation and divorce with a great deal of conflict. And so for those parents, it's very important for them to try and develop a relationship that is a business-like kind of relationship based on exchanging information strictly about the details of the children and trying to keep personal relationships and emotions at the side. Children don't need to be exposed to adult conversations, adult issues through separation and divorce. They need to be supported as children in their healthy growth and development. It's extremely important for parents to protect their children from conflict through separation and divorce. Children will often feel divided and torn between their two parents if they're exposed to adult issues and conflict that keeps arising through separation and divorce. The research clearly states that children can be at risk if they're exposed to that on a continual basis. So parents have a responsibility to really be reminded that children's needs need to come first. Parents needn't feel alone if they're going through the process of separation and divorce. There are many resources in the community available to them, and parents need to reach out to try and access those resources, whether it be through a supportive counselor, a family resource center, through a supportive caring professional that they're involved with. It can even be through a school counselor. But certainly asking for help to get support in the way of resources, reading materials, web-based materials, face-to-face supportive counseling, all of those kinds of resources can help parents to better understand the process of separation and divorce and get to the right kind of help and support for both their children and for their families.